You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross. Hi, Ruronis. This is your pal Rurouni K95 here once again for today's anime review. To cover another 80s anime, for today's anime review is Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross. Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross is a Japanese science fiction mecha anime TV series released in 1984 as the third of the Super Dimension series as well. Yeah. It was adapted as the second generation or the Masters saga, which is particularly for their bold anime TV series that was released in the USA in 1985, Robotech. Sorry about that. Yeah, because Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross is basically also known as Robotech Masters as well. Well, I'm here to discuss about the TV series Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross. Yeah. This anime series was directed by Yasuo Hasegawa. Yeah. And the music was done by Ken Sato and Yuji Dan as well. Yeah. Because this anime series only has 23 episodes from April 15th, 1984 until September 30th, 1984, which the series was canceled after 23 episodes for this particular anime series as well. Yeah, so for the plot in Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross is in the year 2120, humanity has left the solar system and started the colonization of other planets. One of the farthest colonies is located on the terraformed planet Glory. The powerful army of the Southern Cross protects the colonists there from any unknown dangers. However, unbeknownst to the humans, Glory is also the ancestral home of the Zor. Yeah, and highly advanced race of nomadic humanoid aliens who have returned to reclaim their world. Especially what you see going on in Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross as well. For the satisfactory results, because this anime series is also known as Robotech Masters as well. Particularly, is there what satisfactory have how you wanted to know about this. The show was the third mecha series, was released under the Super Dimension moniker by the sponsor Big West in 1984. The science fiction series followed two other series created by Studio New with Artland, including Super Dimension Fortress Macross, sponsored by Big West and animated by Tatsunoko Production, and Super Dimension Century Orgus, which is sponsored by Big West and animated by Tokyo Movie Shinsha, also known as TMS Entertainment as well. Unlike the previous two series, Southern Cross was created and produced almost entirely by Tatsunoko Production with mechanical designs by its sister Studio Ammonite. The series lasted for 23 episodes. The three titles share some of the same creators, and Macross as well, particularly that I've already looked back on my previous anime review on Super Dimension Fortress Macross, which it all has got to me as well. Is referenced by the character cameos and inside references by the later two series. However, the basic stories are unrelated which it'll stand the test of time, which always have cameos in certain anime series in general, unlike any other anime out there, for the two or less than the satisfactory results as well. Yeah, particularly for when it comes to like old 80s anime, for this particular anime series like Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross, particularly because it was also known as Robotech Masters, because I would make it clear that it was also basically what you expect. Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross may seem like your average mecha anime from the 1980s, but it's one of those unique members of the genre, unlike the popular Gundam series or even the other mecha titles by Tatsunoko Productions or one of the other 90s mecha anime out there in general. Southern Cross is written from the point of a female protagonist. Jean is brave, strong, capable, and most importantly, through entertaining. And another thing is that particularly that sets Southern Cross apart its message. The Glorians who colonize the planet are so quick to assume that the Zor are hostile invaders that they launch into war without taking the time to learn about the mysterious race. It is eventually discovered that the Zor are the original inhabitants of what is now Glory, and more shocking still, the Glorians and the Zor are thought to share the same common human ancestry. Southern Cross takes a stance against primitive violence and knee-jerk reactions as well. And the positive anti-war message that this series embodies is admirable. And I noticed that there was some footage that are particularly from Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross that they were later used when they created other anime, like particularly like Megazone 2-3, when they used the footage from, particularly using it from this series, Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross, when they wanted to create Robotech the movie, which we'll get to that come in title in good time. But I'm here to discuss about the TV series Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross as well, because it was also known as Robotech Masters as well. Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross, or just Southern Cross for short, is not really related to the Super Dimensional Fortress Macross in the terms of story, despite both of them being part from the Super Dimensional trilogy. However, the two became artificially entwined after they are stitched together to form the first two parts of Robotech, the Americanized anime TV series. Macross became the first under Robotech the Macross saga. Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross was adapted into the sequel arc Robotech the Masters, and we got the short end of the deal. While Super Dimension Fortress Macross stayed mostly intact through its transition, Southern Cross, however, underwent with such drastic editing that how you expect seeing of how it changes when they made it as Robotech Masters as well. In retrospect, perhaps I should have not been surprised if it was forcibly joined onto the end of Macross as it was. So its story had to be heavily edited in order to fit it with the overarching story. Unsurprisingly, the result is a mess. Despite the major changes, a lot of the story in Robotech the Masters is still inconsistent with Robotech Macross Saga or Super Dimension Fortress Macross. Of course, basically, being the original series, Southern Cross doesn't have this problem, so watching it is quite different experience, a better one, but it's not saying much of it of how you expect seeing if you ever see Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross at this point. I will say, though, that I was how you expect to find a protagonist character in the original story. It isn't actually the offspring of a certain couple from Macross. If they would have used certain character from the previous anime series, it would have been in this series at this point. Southern Cross is a focused army on a military squadron that operates Glory, a planet colonized by Earth, as it comes under attack by the alien race Zor. But in the Robotech version, the Zor are the Robotech Masters, the force behind the Zentradi from the previous arc as well. Yeah. The said squadron is led by Jean Franque, who, in addition to having an extremely French name, the makers went far as giving her a name that closely resembles to the French word for French itself. Also possesses an extremely annoying personality. Yep. Unfortunately for the viewers, she is also the main character, meaning she gets a lot of screen time in which to be annoying. I find it absurd that the army showed such tolerance of her lack of discipline. Her behaviors are probably meant to be taken as comedic, but it's terrible and funny. How do you expect for any character to be annoying or unfunny in the particular way? Yeah. I mean, Southern Cross had occasional moments, like funny scene at the cinema, but the key word there is occasional. Yeah. The story of Southern Cross is a mixed bag if it was. On one hand, it contains some interesting developments and ideas, such as an alien race made up of triplets, and the human versus aliens' issue is not being as black and white at the point that was lost in when the show became Robotech the Masters saga, as it normally is. On the other hand, it was riddles with flaws too. The whole across the super dimensional The whole alien-human love subplot from Macross is found here also. Perhaps they were trying to establish some common themes across the super-dimensional franchise, but just became as a cheap rehash of ideas. The show also suffers from incompleteness and plot holes. Plot points like the connection between the Zor and the flowers were never really explained, and the ease in which Jean Yin's squadron was able to hold off masses of enemy forces seems ridiculous. The ending is very abrupt and leaves things hanging. The show was apparently axed due to the bad ratings, as it was if the ratings would have gotten higher instead of a low rating for Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross, which would explain a lot. It's only got to itself to blame, though. It isn't just good enough to deserve better ratings as it was. It would have gotten a better ratings if it wasn't for the low ratings, if it wasn't for the show's cancellation. But overall, Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross is an improvement over its Robotech counterpart, but it's just how it is what it is. It has its entertaining moments for if you ever see the series as well. I mean, the character basically is just I would not call the main character from Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross. No, I would just call it the most intriguing character, I would say, because of how the characters have to be what you expect in Robotech or Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross. Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross, however, did got a DVD release when it was released by ADV Films, when it's presented in its original Japanese with English subtitles on there. And yes, this anime series became the pinnacle of 80s anime, along with other 80s anime that became popular in the public eye in Japan during the 80s, like Fist of the North Star, Gundam, Urusei Yatsura, the Kabocha wine, Dragon Ball, and Macross are becoming a household name to the Japanese public in the public eye during the 80s as well. But overall, Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross, I noticed there's some footage on there they were used for, particularly in Megazone 2-3, which is an anime miniseries where they use, like, for example, in Megazone 2-3 Part 1, where some of the footage from Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross were originally what they used when they were going to create Robotech the movie as well. If you're a fan of Robotech, you would probably know about this if you ever watched it. If you ever see either Megazone 2-3, or if you've seen Robotech the movie, or if you've seen the Super Dimensional Calvary Southern Cross TV series as well. Because, Super Dimensional Cavalry Southern Cross is particularly known as Robotech Masters because it's probably under its counterpart as the Americanized anime TV series name, which is under the bold idea, Robotech. I mean, it looks just kind of like how I look back to my previous anime review on Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, is particularly also known as Robotech Macross Saga, which it all has got to my mind because I had this whole thing in the brain about Robotech when I was doing this anime review for the first time, because I didn't know it was that Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross is also known as Robotech Masters Saga as well. Well, just how you expect for this particular anime series from the 80s. I mean, if you haven't seen Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross, I helpfully recommend you to check it out on Tubi TV, or if you can get it on DVD, because this is the most interesting anime series that I've seen. We saw before or since. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Super Dimension Calvary Southern Cross for today's anime review. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. When I first watched this, I really watched it and I enjoyed it because in its original Japanese with English subtitles on there. And I didn't know that this series was also known as Robotech Masters. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you to check it out on Tubi TV, or if you can get it on DVD that is released by ADV Films, if it's either it's out of print or if it's available online as well. Hope subscribe for content on my anime planet, link in the description below. You can share this video on your Twitter, Facebook if you have Twitter, Facebook account, all social media. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RoniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell button. Keep it otaku for this anime review, and I got another anime review series coming up next. What I have here. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime review tomorrow with my anime review on Mazinger Edition Z The Impact. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Mazinger Edition Z The Impact, because you won't want to miss another anime review here.